Example number one. I've been a AAA customer for about 25 years with their road service. About 5 or 6 years ago, and paid every year, paid faithfully, wrote that check out, and sent it in the mail. You notice that's one part about the big corporations, one division that never breaks down. Never. The billing department, always like clockwork, right on time. Paid that money. The only time in 25 years that I ever needed AAA road service, guess what? They refused to pay. Some bullshit about me using my truck in business. I had some tools in my truck. At that time, I was a real estate investor, and I was paying contractors. I wasn't doing any in my work anymore, so I wasn't using my truck other than to get back and forth to my houses and collect rent, that type of thing. The only time I ever needed them, they wouldn't pay. Here's the truth about road service, people. Statistics will show that you don't need it. Most of the time, you're going to be in these days, you're going to be in cell range of tow trucks. The vehicles are amazingly reliable these days. Take care of your vehicle, carry a spare tire, a flashlight, maybe a hide key somewhere under the car. Those are the big things. You're never going to need road service. Cancel your road service today. AAA knows that you're not going to use road service, and that's why they push it so hard. Example number two of how this wonderful company ripped me off. I'm also a contractor real estate investor, is where I made most of my money over the years. And in the last cycle, before the mortgage meltdown, again, greedy corporations destroying our economy, destroying our planet, I had, 15 or 20 rentals all over the West Coast. And I had most of my rentals insured through AAA, including my residence and my automobile. AAA is getting a lot of customers because of their prices, but you're not going to find out what you really have, or in my case, what you don't have, until you actually need it. The one time I think I had 10, 15 properties with AAA for about 10 years. Thousands of dollars every month, thousands of dollars going out to AAA. And I was fixing all the small stuff myself because I don't nickel and dime my insurance company. The one time that I file a claim was on my residence. It's about 2 or 3 years ago up in Lake Tahoe. We had a 100-year storm. 65 feet of snow, did a lot of damage to properties. I filed a claim. I looked at it. I was going to do the work myself, but it was a lot of stuff. And I thought, what the hell? I'm paying for insurance. Are you kidding me? How dare you use your insurance? You want us to actually cover your loss? AAA jerked me around on this claim, and I don't know, I think it was $30,000 or $40,000. I don't remember exactly how much it was. Stonewalled, jerked me around, stalled, wouldn't return phone calls. Stalled this project so long, the claim that I turned in, that it went through another winter. Even though I put in writing, I've got holes in my roof, holes in the walls. I travel a lot, so I wasn't going to be there. I did the best I could to cover it up and secure it. I said, we're going to end up having more damage. Sure as hell, what happens? Because it took a year for them to settle the claim with me screaming and shouting and finally threatening a lawsuit, went through another winter, had more damage on the property. Finally, I think after a year and a half, 2 years, they settled. What do they end up doing? They give the check to the lender in California. Another scheme. That's a whole industry that the banking industry has created, taking your money from your claims. They invest that, they put it in a pool of money, and just what a scam that is. Example number 3. They have decided probably they're setting themselves up to deny my claim. I'm a gun collector. Love guns, antique firearms. I've been collecting guns since I was 12 years old. Fairly sizable gun collection, covered under my homeowner's policy. I actually paid more to cover this gun collection and paid more to supposedly to have replacement value. More bullshit. It's all bullshit. Once that agent sells you something, he's out of the picture. You've signed on the dotted line. Went down to a gun show in Reno, Nevada, and had the guns in the cab of the truck. Went into the gun show for a short period of time. I'm convinced that I was set up, that somebody was following me. No, I can give you the details later. I think somebody saw me take one of the guns out of my truck and followed me into the gun show, and they robbed me. Got my whole gun collection. AAA, the next day, I did everything I was supposed to do. Called the police, talked to the agent the next day. I think this happened on a Sunday. AAA, right from the beginning, the first conversation, I could feel it coming. First conversation with the claims adjuster, she was setting me up to either discount or try and deny the claim. Now, the problem that I had is there were no witnesses. Does that mean that a crime didn't happen? No, of course not. I was robbed. Well, here's what they did. They have stalled, stonewalled, and jerked me around now for 90 days. They insisted that I insulted and humiliated me by insisting that I go through a 2-hour grueling interrogation by a private detective, ex-cop, whose specialty is insurance fraud. And I called my attorney. He said, no, don't do it. And I hesitated, wasn't going to do it. And I thought, well, you know, I'll just go ahead and see what this guy's got on his mind. He told me that he was there to validate the claim. No, his job was to invalidate the claim. So we recorded this conversation, went through the whole gun collection to determine whether or not I actually owned these pieces. I actually have a videotape of all the contents in my house in my possession. The claims department in writing has said, no, go ahead and hang on to that. We don't need that. What have they done? The last thing that they've done after this grueling 2 hours with an ex-cop, they handed the whole claim off to an attorney. So that means what they're going to do is they want me to hire an attorney. This is another tactic that they pull. Stalling, stonewalling, intimidation, try to either get you to drop the claim, back off, or set you up to take less money, or set you up to deny the claim completely. As you can see, this particular channel is dedicated just to complaints about AAA, but I have been a volunteer consumer advocate for years, and we're opening up a whole new YouTube channel called Corporate Greed, and we're going to help you across the board. It doesn't cost you a penny. Help you solve these problems and fight these big corporations. I believe you give a corporation your money, you ought to get what you paid for without any bullshit or excuses or being jerked around. Post your comments below. Thanks for tuning in, and look for our new YouTube channel coming up, Corporate Greed.